Welcome back to Talks with Dr. Gupta and friends. Today we're doing something uncomfortable. We're looking under the bed, opening the closet, confronting the monster that's been haunting headlines and paychecks for the last 2 years. That quiet, persistent anxiety that artificial intelligence isn't just a productivity tool, but a direct threat to your job. And this fear isn't coming from science fiction anymore. It's being amplified by people who run the global economy. The head of the IMF has warned that AI could hit labor markets like a tsunami. London's mayor has spoken openly about a future of mass unemployment. Layer that on top of tech layoffs, hiring freezes, and disappearing entry-level roles, and the story feels inevitable. The robots are here. The badges have been deactivated. The prophecy is unfolding. And to be clear, the fear is real. The labor market is softer. Job searches are harder. For graduates and first-time workers, it's brutal. But today's deep dive exists for one reason, because a growing body of serious data suggests we may be blaming the wrong culprit entirely. This episode is about a contrarian idea, anchored in Financial Times analysis and hard labor market data, that says the so-called AI job apocalypse is largely a case of mistaken identity. If jobs are disappearing, the question isn't what looks scary. It's what's actually responsible. At first glance, the timing looks damning. Late 2022, large language models explode into public life. Almost immediately after, job openings begin to fall. It feels like cause and effect, an open and shut case. But when you zoom in, month by month, the story falls apart. Hiring demand began cooling before AI tools were widely adopted. The timeline doesn't fit the crime. The real driver sits somewhere far less futuristic: interest rates. To fight post-pandemic inflation, central banks raised rates by roughly 5 percentage points. In macroeconomic terms, that's slamming the brakes at full speed. When borrowing costs spike, expansion stops. Projects get shelved. Hiring freezes follow. This slowdown wasn't engineered by algorithms. It was designed by central bankers. Layered on top of that is something more psychological: post-pandemic normalization. In 2021 and 2022, companies overhired aggressively, assuming crisis-era demand would last forever. It didn't. What we're seeing now isn't collapse. It's correction, a hangover from a hiring binge. And this pattern isn't uniquely American. The same labor cooling shows up across G7 economies, including regions with far less AI exposure. Which raises a critical question. If AI isn't the cause, why do so many companies say it is? The answer is something called AI washing. Layoffs caused by weak demand sound like failure. Layoffs framed as strategic AI integration sound visionary. Same outcome, very different stock market reaction. The data confirms this. Only about 4.5% of announced job cuts are actually linked to AI. Over 95% come from ordinary economic pressures. We're fixated on the shiny, frightening 4.5% and ignoring the boring, painful 95%. But the disruption isn't imaginary, it's just more selective than the headlines suggest. Here's the most counterintuitive fact in the entire debate. Since the launch of modern AI tools, white-collar employment has grown overall in the US and Europe. Jobs are shifting, not vanishing. History helps explain why. Every major technological shift rewards those who adapt fastest. Not necessarily the most experienced, but the most flexible. During the PC revolution, older workers struggled to unlearn decades of habits. Younger workers learned the new tools from scratch and surged ahead. We're seeing the same pattern now. AI isn't replacing humans wholesale. It's replacing tasks. Routine work disappears. Judgment, synthesis, and human complexity gain value. A project manager stops chasing updates and starts solving real problems. A financial analyst stops building spreadsheets and starts interrogating assumptions. It's not man versus machine. It's man plus machine. But this transition isn't painless. Entry-level roles heavy on routine work are at real risk. Junior coding jobs are already declining. Education systems are lagging behind, training people for jobs that no longer exist. That gap between technological change and institutional adaptation is where the pain lives. And yet, history is clear. Most people today work in jobs that didn't exist a century ago. AI has already created millions of new roles, many of them hybrid, human-centered, and still evolving. So the verdict? This isn't the end of work. It's a rewiring of work. The danger isn't AI itself. It's refusing to learn how to use it. One final thought. If you want a clearer signal than headlines or speeches, look at prediction markets, where people bet real money on the future. They're often calmer, colder, and more accurate than panic-driven narratives. The smartest move right now isn't fearing the robot takeover. It's learning how to work alongside the machine and getting ahead while others freeze. Stay curious, stay safe, and happy new thinking.